So see, let's just take a little detail back there. See, I said I wrote this down. He said, from where we are as a continent and people, how do we drive the transformation that the world needs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, because I believe Africa is the next place. Okay. So I believe that
next in terms of what?
In terms of contributing intellectually to the growth and progress of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we doing that at the moment? No.
Mm-hmm.
But the world has seen and used the knowledge and the drive from China, from rest of Asia, from Europe, from the Islamic kingdoms before Europe. Now it's time for Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we going to do that?
So we have something that some parts of the rest of the world have, which is a strong cultural base.
Mm.
So countries that have got strong cultures in terms
China, Japan.
You have your you have the East.
Middle East, yeah.
Let's say the East.
Yeah, okay.
And Africa have got very strong cultural norms that drive behavior or should drive behavior. I think the disruption that came in our cultural norms kind of put that out of balance in terms of how much we believe that it is useful. Because what happened is almost a wholesale discounting of our ways and who we are as people, that we had to lose completely who we were and assume a new identity. And in doing so, we lost to some extent our ways, our basic humanity, like our code of how we are. I think that's not all lost. The world needs to find itself if it's going to survive. Earth needs to find itself. The inhabitants of Earth, the most powerful, but the most powerful inhabitants of Earth are humans, but they're the most useless inhabitants.
Oh.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Without human beings, nature will just carry on.
Yes.
And continue. And
yes.
It will
we are part of nature. We are part of nature. Yes.
We are part of nature, but we're a misfit. We've now made ourselves.
No, I don't agree with you on that.
Let me finish my thought.
Oh.
Our current behavior
is
a misfit of nature. What we have become on a larger scale is destabilizing nature. We only have to look to what we've done to the climate and to Earth to see this, right? So when I say Earth needs to heal itself, what I'm trying to say is we need a shift in how we look at each other, how we look at resources, and how we look at Earth. When human beings stop seeing Earth as its servant, as just an extractive thing, and when we hold that, go back to respecting nature and Earth and each other, we're going to heal the world. Now that sounds woo-woo, and yes, I'm all about woo-woo, because woo-woo makes the world go round.
Ooh, okay.
That reverence, in the last commitment, I speak about tethering ourselves to noble values.
Yeah.
And the opening quote that I have there is, without values, nothing is sacred.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
And our loss of sacred things in how we are as human beings, the doing away with the sanctity of human life, for instance, is part of what is wrong with the way we are as human beings now. And I just say collectively as a whole, I'm not saying that there are no good people, but we seem to be, the imbalance right now is that a lot of the good people don't have power, and a lot of the people with power are not doing good. So when we've lost a certain sanctity for nature and for life, Africa has direct access to rekindling that essence of reverence that all our tribes hold in different places, different things. In the south of Africa, it's similar. It's either Ubuntu. In Shona, it's Hunu, which means the same thing, which is basically the reverence of humanity. I am because you are, and there are things that are, at a base. I don't believe that there's any culture across the continent that doesn't have some element of that. If we go back to that, to understand that we are because of each other, and we start to revere human life, and we go back to revering nature, we're on the right track. There's a lot of people who see that as being backward, but Africans were already forward with that. Africa, when the West met Africa, didn't have the technology, didn't have the gadgets, didn't have guns, didn't have all those things. But we were so forward already in terms of how we treated each other and how we respected humanity. Let me give you an example. In my culture, we have totems, right? You have a totem for where a totem is not just about a tribe. Within a tribe, there are people with different totems. So you identify as almost like a clan or whatever. And I started to read up about, well, what was the use and the purpose of having totems? So my totem is elephant. Behind me, you'll see lots of elephants. I love elephants. And it served multiple purposes. It served the purpose of an identifier. So in the absence of last names and passports and ID numbers, to some extent, it was an identifier. It also served to speak to certain characteristics that people have. And what you would find is that people of a certain totem have got similar characteristics. And I found that to be true in my country. But it also served a conservation purpose.
Yeah.
You can't eat your totem. You can't kill your totem. Your totem is sacred. So if we are of the leopard tribe, we're not going to hunt leopards. And therefore, we are to some extent protecting leopard conservation. So when we talk about, oh, Africa was primitive, oh, the dark continent, the whatever, I think if we strip away and we look at how the evolution of human mind and the sanctity of life needs to be, we were always forward on that. And we need to go back to that reverence, to that respect, so that we don't kill people at a basic level, okay? We don't, we didn't invent a gun because it wasn't necessary.
Well, see, first, I understand what you're saying, and the same in my tribe, okay? We do all that. And I would say, basically, the whole world do the same. There's this, the whole world does a style of it, the same thing. See, because maybe that started before our brothers and sisters left Africa. So they carried they carried it along. See, it's about we believing that there is something bigger than us. Okay, so yeah, so those things are human characteristics. Okay.
Yes.
Now, yes, there are things that we have done in recent centuries that have made life difficult for us. Okay. But even that, everything we do is part of nature. Everything. Okay. Now, we make mistakes, we discover it, and we correct. Everything we do is part of nature because we didn't get it from anywhere else. So that's why I said I disagree when I said that. Okay, so you understand. So I see this is part of the kind of discussion we need to have more and more and more, because you say you may sound woo woo. Yes, me too. I sound woo. Okay, I do some woo woo things. So you're not alone.
Who's good? Who's great?
So